Okay. So, before I get into actual strategies, let me describe to you, according to Harry Wong, four different types of classrooms. Four different types of classrooms. Here's classroom number one: low control, low support. Low control, meaning the teacher has low control of the classroom for one reason or another, does not control. One, maybe because she does not know, maybe because she was not given strategies on how to manage the class, on how to control the class. Or here's another reason why some teachers have low control of the classroom. They're afraid. And I've seen teachers like that. They are afraid to demand from the students. Natatakot sila na pagka pinagalitan nila ang class, iisipin ng mga estudyante, um, well, I will defy this teacher. They will answer back. They will misbehave even more. So, some teachers will say, never mind, bahala kayo dyan. Matulog kayo kung gusto nyo. Ayaw kong pahirapan ang sarili ko. Low control. Low control, again, because they are afraid, because they don't know, because they don't have strategies, or because they are the kind of teachers, and I'm sure you've met teachers like this, na bahala kayo sa buhay nyo. Bagsak kayo kung bagsak, wala na akong pakialam sa inyo. Low control. Low support. The students also do not support that kind of teacher. They, in fact, say something like, ano ba namang klaseng teacher to? Hindi niya kayang kontrolin ang class. Ang ingay-ingay, hindi ko madinig si ma'am kasi yung mga classmates ko maingay. And the teacher doesn't know how to get them to keep quiet. Here's another kind of low control. Low control because the teacher tries very hard to be liked. Yan. Low control, low support. And you know, when you have a situation like that, a classroom where the teacher cannot control and the students do not like the teacher, then you are going to produce a bored classroom. Students will even say something like, sana doon na lang tayo sa kabilang class kay ma'am so and so. Stricto raw, pero at least sana siguro mas matututo kami. Students get bored. They want to just be able to finish the period, or they just want the school year to finish. And they will even say something like, bakit kailangan pa kasing kunin itong subject na to? Yan. Low control, low support. Here's another kind of classroom, and it has somehow something to do with the one example I gave you earlier. Low control, high support. Low control now, you want to transfer your seats, go ahead. You want to sleep, go ahead. Just make sure walang hindi dumadaan si ma'am principal. You want to eat, go ahead. Just sit there at the back para hindi kayo makita in case dadaan si ma'am principal. And why does he have low control? Because they want high support. High support. The students like that kind of teacher. Students say something like, "Uy, okay dito we can do anything we want. Okay to the teacher is chill, cool, hindi nagagalit. Kahit kumakain tayo, kahit nagsa-cellphone tayo." Because that kind of teacher, low control, high support, is precisely trying very hard to be liked. I've seen teachers like that when I was principal of intermediate school, vice principal of high school, when I was director of a school. Sometimes I would encounter a teacher like that, yung parang trying too hard to be liked by the students. Parang tumatakbo sa popularity contest. Yan. Um, Trying to be cool and chill with the students, ganyan. But not all students are the same. Some are more mature, and some will see through the teacher, and they will see, itong teacher na to, may favoritism nga yan eh. Trying to be liked, to be popular. So, eventually, your classroom is going to become a frustrated classroom. The students know na parang medyo something's off with this teacher. Feeling teenager, um, just trying to be one among us. Well, you remember what we said in the one of the sessions? Um, we are not here to be friends with our students. We are here to be role models. And we're going to talk a lot about being role models today in a number of the strategies I'm going to share with you. Bored and frustrated classroom, in both cases, ang kawawa, yung bata. Yung bata. Because boredom and frustration are two of the reasons why students don't like to come to school. They are afraid to come to school because no one wants to be subjected to that kind of boredom or to that kind of frustration. Here's another kind of classroom: high control, low support. High control now. Sit up straight, eyes on the board, stop talking, listen here. Why are you looking outside? Get out. What are you laughing at? Get out. High control. Kulang na lang sasabihan ng teacher, inhale, exhale, stop smiling, no laughing. High control, parang terror teacher. I mean, that's the precisely kind of atmosphere in a classroom of terror teacher. High control, low support. Low support because the students don't like this teacher. They're afraid of the teacher. They're scared. They're terrified. Pero parang it works, no? Because sometimes dadaan ka ng classroom ng isang terror teacher. Uy, napakatahimik. Everyone is so quiet. No one wants to make a noise. Parang sementeryo. Parang lahat patay. Everyone is so terrified, they will not dare make a noise. But then they have low support. They don't like that kind of teacher. In fact, when you have a classroom like this, chances are you're going to produce a classroom that is revengeful. The students are just waiting for their chance to get back at that teacher. Kaya minsan, meron kang general assembly, student assembly in a hall. Pag nabanggit yung pangalan ng teacher na yon, yung mga estudyante may certain hiyawan na that doesn't show sign of respect. It's like hiyawan na parang gusto nilang pahiyain yung teacher. Revengeful. That is the kind of classroom that you will produce if you have a terror teacher. High control, um, high pitched voice, always shouting, always screaming. Here's the classroom we want to produce. That's why we've been looking at strategies, classroom strategies by which we are able to make the students do what we want them to do, high control. And yet the students are going to study and study hard. And they want to be successful. They want to get good grades. They want to participate. They want to be able to work well as a team. High support. They support the teacher. They like the teacher kasi alam nila the teacher knows what he's doing. The teacher knows what she is doing. The teacher knows how to manage the class. He or she doesn't discipline. He or she manages the class. The class runs like a well-oiled machine. And of course, that's going to produce a successful classroom. That is what we want to produce. All the strategies I've shared with you so far are meant to create a kind of classroom where the teacher is able to control, but the students also have high support of the teacher, and they work together as a team. The teacher together with the classmates, with the students, and the students with all their classmates, pushing the cart along the same direction because they know the teacher is after their success. It's a kind and caring classroom. All the strategies we've seen so far are geared towards creating this. So let's move on to many more strategies. The thought bubble technique. The thought bubble technique you have to encourage students to express their thoughts or concerns through visual representations. This is similar to the so many strategies I already shared with you about um, thermometer of feelings, having a grasp of how the state of affairs is, the state condition of the students regarding their feelings. So, if they are afraid, they should be able to express it. It's like making their thoughts known to you. So how do you do that? You can have cut out like this, cut out pictures, or you can also do it color coded, and then there's a poster there. Red if they're apprehensive or scared, green if they're excited, yellow if they are unsure of how things are going to go, blue, etc. So different colors symbolizing different feelings or thoughts or states. And then every so often, you will ask the students, okay, class, can I get your thought bubble for now? Which can also be cutouts like this. This is like screaming. This is a neutral feeling or thoughts. This is, they are pensive. They are thinking of deep things. And then you tell them, all the students would have these cutouts or these colors, and every so often you will have a check, raise the color where you are right now, how you feel right now, how you are, how your condition is right now. And in one glance, as they raise the color or raise the thought bubble, then you have an idea of how is the class right now. It doesn't take more than 1 minute when you tell them, think about how you're feeling now. And then when I say go, raise the color or raise the thought bubble, the cutout. And then one glance, and you will have a bit of a grasp of where do things stand right now, as far as your students are concerned, as far as their state of or condition is concerned. Okay, let's go to another one, the ABCs of behavior reflection. Remember what we mentioned in one of the past sessions? Many times we've got to get the students to reflect on um, what they are learning, how they are feeling, how they are reacting to situations, because it's something they do not do a lot of. Bihira na ngayon ang mga kabataan who are able to do introspection, who are able to do what we call examination of conscience, of reflecting, what did I do right? What did I do wrong? What can I do better? Very frequently, we have to make them do reflection. Now, here is another exercise to make the students do a sort of reflection. ABC. You have to encourage students to identify regarding behavior, no? Antecedents, behaviors, consequences. Antecedents, meaning to say, what brought about that letter B behavior, and what are the consequences, letter C, of that behavior. It's good to make the students do this, for example, especially when, let's say, there is trouble that happened inside the classroom. There is disciplinary case that transpired, that happened. Make the students not do ABC. The behavior is discipline problem, misbehavior. What brought it about? Antecedent, or plural, antecedents. What brought it about? I lost my temper. I got very angry. I got very upset. I have something against this classmate. What is the antecedent? What is the antecedent? What are the antecedents that brought it about, that misbehavior? And then what are the consequences? We got into a fight. We were reprimanded. We almost physically hurt each other. Make them reflect on these things so that they become more conscious of it. The next time those antecedents start coming into place, they will be more careful about how they will behave so that they will avoid consequences that they will not like. ABCs of behavior reflection. Let's move on. Compliment exchange. Similar to the compliments game that Hal Urban, the author of Lessons from the Classroom, 20 Things Good Teachers Do. And one of the things he talks about there is compliments game. 2 minutes before dismissal, you will ask the class, okay, class, let's play the compliments game. Anybody wants to give a compliment to anyone or anybody in the classroom or in the school? In the beginning, maybe the first time you're going to do this, they may not be very used to it and they may not have an easy time giving compliments. But as you keep on doing this exercise, you will have more and more hands going up when you say, okay, last 2 minutes before I dismiss you, let's play the compliments game. Anybody wants to compliment? Somebody will raise his hand. I want to compliment the students in charge of cleaning the classroom. It's so clean. An applause for the cleaners of the day. Sir, I want to compliment John, who lent me a ball pen. I lost mine. I almost did not get to take the test, the quiz, but thanks to John, he lent me. I was able to take the test. An applause for John. So you have people just expressing compliments, exchanging compliments. To end the period, or to end the class, to end the day, or to end the week. Depends on you how often you want to do this. It's fantastic when you have students exchanging good words, kind words, acknowledging good deeds done by someone, some people, some classmates. It creates a positive class culture. This is all the things I've shared with you are geared towards creating a healthy school climate, a positive class culture. It's important, dear fellow teachers. It's important that we deliberately work on creating a kind and caring and positive class climate or culture, school climate, because out there, when they go back home, when they watch the news, when they go to social media, they will have a barrage of bad news about the wars going on, about politicians putting down each other, about people bashing Jokoy for doing a poor job in hosting Golden Globe. Teka muna, he was our Pinoy pride for a long time. Tapos just because of one mistake, we're going to bash him. But that is the social media right now, where like everyone feels they are entitled to insult, to criticize, to shoot down, to bring down. That's the kind of world the young people are living in. We've got to counter it by creating a class culture that is positive, healthy, kind, caring, compliments, a lot of compliments that they hear throughout the day. So it works. You may not see the fruits of this kind of strategy trying to counter negativity, but we don't know what really happens in the mindset of the young people today who are um, subjected to a lot of negative things in the environment, in their surroundings. Take it from me, I've been inside the classroom for 33 plus years, and I've seen how students, young people, can really be very much affected by things they watch in the news, things they hear in social media, things they hear around them. Okay, let's move on. Here's another strategy, which also creates even more exciting, more positive, more rewarding environment inside the classroom, a culture where we celebrate good things, we celebrate good deeds. You have this pop the balloons celebration, and inside those balloons, you have you remember the menu of rewards I talked about when I mentioned the good deeds bowl. That as soon as we fill up the bowl with good deeds, that you fill it up with pebbles or marbles or uh, paper papers that have been put into small bowl like that, and every time you catch somebody doing a good deed, you put you put it in that bowl, in that jar. And once you fill it up, you're going to say, okay, class, now we're up for a reward. Instead of giving them the menu of reward, you have these balloons with the different rewards inside on a piece of paper written there, the reward, whether it's a quiz bee, it's one in one balloon, or we will watch a video, a movie, it's inside one of those balloons, or we will have 30 minutes of free period where you will ask them bring any book that you want to read in those 30 minutes as a reward for having accomplished this, for having done all these good things. And then pop the balloons to choose the reward that they're going to receive for having filled up the bowl, or for some other good things that the class would do. Like, for example, okay, class, if we win championship in the intrams, if our class will be champions, we're going to pop not one, but two balloons from the that balloons of rewards. Or, okay, class, if in the next long test, no one will get 85 or below, then we're going to pop one of the balloons, and whatever is inside that balloon, whatever reward is there in that balloon, we will get as a class reward for the hard work that you put in for this subject. I mean, you have a class now excited to make sure they study hard for the exam because they want to be able to pop one balloon as part of the reward for good grades, for the honors. At the end of every quarter or semester, you have the first honor, second honor, and third honor, and you will announce, okay, class, if 75% of the class is able to reach first, second, or third honor, we will have three balloons that we will pop from the balloons of rewards. That kind of culture where students are going to do what you want them to do, in this case, to study hard and to do very well in the academics in order to achieve a recognition or a reward. I love a class like that. Students working as a team, to be able to accomplish, to be able to achieve a reward as a class. Let's move on. The puzzle of respect. The the metaphor of puzzle. You cannot form, the puzzles with 60, 100 pieces, and every piece has to be put in the right place, has to be put beside these other pieces of the puzzle so that you are able to form a masterpiece, the picture, a complete whatever it is that you're putting together. Well, have that analogy always at the back of the mind of the students, that in the classroom, everyone is a piece of a puzzle that has to be in the right place, that has to do its work, its job. Otherwise, you will not be able to come up with that picture, that masterpiece. And therefore, everyone is a valuable piece of a whole puzzle. And what is the puzzle that we are putting together? This class that is a masterpiece, a great class, a class that is successful. And everyone has a role to play, everyone will have to contribute, and everyone will have to do what it is expected to do, will have to be where it is supposed to be. That is the kind of respect that everyone should have of each other, that everyone is a member of the team and therefore everyone has to respect each other. The puzzle of respect. Use a puzzle metaphor to teach the importance of respect and teamwork in the classroom. Literally, puzzle of respect, every now and then you can make them do puzzles like this, looking for words in the puzzle of words: value, kindness, leading, personal space, understand. And then when they're able to complete it, to drive home the point about, you see, all these things are needed if we are to be able to create a kind, caring, respectful classroom. And all these words are like sisters of respect. They beget what we want to be able to produce, which is respect. Or sometimes you may ask the students to literally work on crossword puzzle like this, looking for those words with the word bank included there: politeness, friendly, reflect, nice, admire, truth, esteem, joy, honor, happiness. Similar puzzles like this every now and then. Like this can be, for example, one of those rewards that you give them. Okay, class, if we um, are complete gala attire on this day, this first Friday, this assembly day, when we are going to have general assembly in the covered court in the gymnasium. If we are complete in the gala, then we will have puzzle activities. So, but the more important thing about this puzzle strategy is for every single one, every single member of the class to realize, to think, to be conscious that he is part of a class. He is a very important team member. The, you cannot finish a puzzle if one piece is missing. If one piece is not in its right place, that is how important every single member of the class is. And that is something we classroom managers can affect, can do, can accomplish in our work of um, managing the classroom management done effectively, properly, well. Let's move on. Here is an activity that you can do in your class, or even better yet, in your whole school. I mean, if you can implement something like a 1 week of kindness, or a week when you celebrate and get everybody to be thinking of kindness, then you will have everyone trying to fulfill, to do a list of challenge, a list of random acts of kindness. It's like having a checklist, a report card, a like everyone receives this piece of paper, and then they are all going to be told, okay, you have 1 week to accomplish as many of these. And if you're able to accomplish all of them, every single one of them, don't worry, we're going to zoom in later. I know it's not very easy to read the text. Um, and whoever is able to accomplish all the challenges in that 1 week will be given recognition, will be, the name will be posted in the kindness accomplishment or kindness achievers bulletin board, or whatever it is. You can do it as a class, or as I said, you can even do it as a school-wide activity. There is a school in Los Baños, the first school of character in the Philippines, Morning Star Montessori School. When I talked about this 1 week of kindness, they said, we in fact have 100 days of kindness. That's why it's a school of character. I mean, it's the very first one. So, like, what are these challenges? These challenges are so doable. Anyone can do all of them if they are conscious of trying to accomplish all. Smiling at 25 people, slipping a nice note in your friend's backpack, complimenting 5 people, picking up 10 pieces of trash on campus, making a new friend, etc., etc. Let's look at another part of that list: helping a younger student, giving a kind handshake to greet a classmate, recycling your trash, hugging a friend, picking up trash outside of your school, cutting out 10 hearts and giving them to friends. Some of these are very, very attractive as activities for kids, some even all the way to high school. But yes, anyone can actually do all these random acts of kindness. Here's another part of that long checklist, or you can come up with your own. But imagine a school where, let's say, 1,000 students in the school tampering to do all these challenges. Imagine the kind of environment that you have. Imagine the climate in that school. It's a school of character. It's a school where students are trying to outdo each other in doing kind acts. And they're, well, you will say they're not even random acts of kindness. They are acts of kindness according to this list, and they try to do as many of them. I mean, it makes a big difference. Compare that with what happens in some other schools that we know of. Not your school, because maybe you have been pushing kindness, character, values, good morals, good manners, and right conduct. But there are schools out there where these are not the things, these are things that students do not do. What you hear of are teasing, put down, hurting, insulting, stepping on people, making, abusing. I mean, that's the kind of environment many young people today are living in, and they're afraid to come to their school because there is a lot of unkindness, there is a lot of bullying and teasing. And, well, what kind of class are you going to produce? What kind of school climate do you have right now? If this kind of challenge, if this activity is going to transform your school culture, your school climate, then go ahead. Convince your principal. Let's do that. Let's have something like that where our students will be campering, trying to do all these acts of kindness that will transform your school, that will totally change the atmosphere. If it's useful, then do it, use it, implement it. And I don't think it will even cost much. I mean, photocopying so that everyone will have this list of acts of kindness, checklist, then it's not a very big expense and it's not um, a like a big burden, and yet the result can be fantastic. Okay, let's move on. Sabi ko kanina, I'm going to talk about teachers as role models. Well, students also have to be conscious that every single one of them can be a role model for the other classmates, for the other students. And therefore, the role model spotlight highlights students who exemplify desired behavior, encouraging positive peer influence. Like this week, class, this week, our role models for the week, because of the kind of behavior they showed, because of the kind of participation they put in, the kind of effort they put in helping the class, of being of service to the class. And then you declare who are these role models for the week. Maybe there's one that stands out, the role model singular for the week. But the idea is to present to the class one, two, or three students whom others can look up to as a role model, especially in good behavior, in character, in virtues, in values. Because they are humble, because they're courageous, because they're empathic, supportive, they have discipline, because they are positive in their um, the way they exude positivity. They are good students. That is a good activity, and it does not cost a thing. Now, I know some people might find this, ay, parang ano, ibibida mo ang isang estudyante. Okay, then think of a variation. If you don't like that idea, you're highlighting, you're spotlighting one person or two or three persons. Okay, then make the students choose, vote this week who are the three students you can consider as role models for the class for this week. And they vote on it. They vote based on um, these qualities or what your idea is, what your idea of the ideal student of your school based on your mission, vision, and core values. And that is a very good exercise. The more you make the students be conscious of what the school stands for, school mission and vision, of what the school considers as important, core values. The more you make the students conscious, aware, and even able to verbalize this, the bigger chance you have of really making the students achieve the school's mission, vision, and core values. Or every so often, you can ask the students to define what it is, what it means to be a role model in your class. Make them come up with, class, what do you think are the top 5 qualities of a role model for our class for this week as we prepare for the final exams, as we prepare to finish the quarter or the semester or the school year for that matter, the more you make the students think of core values, good things, virtues, and the more chance you have, the greater chance you have of helping them achieve all these things. And then that becomes like by itself a point for examination. Chances are students will also think, do I have this? Do I have passion and the ability to inspire? Do I have clear set of values? Do I have the ability to overcome obstacles? Do I have selflessness and acceptance of others? Do I have commitment as a team player to my class? Do I even have team spirit that I feel I am a very important part of the team? So I repeat, the more we make students think, reflect, consider values and virtues, the better we are preparing them for real life. I repeat what we've already mentioned. Teachers, your job is not just to teach a subject, okay? Especially for those of you who are class advisors. You are not just given a subject to teach. We are entrusted with students to take care of, okay? You and I are given students to raise, to become good men and women. That's a good educator. Hindi lang tayo hinire ng eskwelahan natin para magturo ng math, science, English, Filipino, social studies. That's important. That's essential. But really, if you are a teacher, you're effectively in charge of souls, of human beings, of people, not just a subject. I, I mentioned this already. Stop teaching subjects and start teaching children. Okay? So that's why all these strategies, um, some participants here may already be entertaining thoughts like, waste of time naman tong mga tong strategies ni Mr. Rentoy. Parang walang kinalaman sa aking yung factoring, subject-verb agreement, at saka sa yung tinuturo ko. Yeah, maybe some of them may not have direct link to the syllabus that we are supposed to finish. But that is only for teachers. Yung ganong klaseng mentality. Kailangan matapos ko yung textbook. Kailangan matapos ko yung syllabus. Kailangan matapos, umabot ako sa last chapter. That's what I am here for. Yeah, you can be a good teacher, but not a good educator that way. These strategies are for teachers who really don't just want to finish the school year and cover the curriculum, but they want to make an impact in the lives of their students, which in the end is what a good classroom manager does. He makes the students learn the subject matter and learn how to be successful in real life. And this is the reason why, if I am driving home the point about students being role models, teachers, one of the most important strategies as classroom managers we should have is our ability to be role models for our students. Hindi to bago, nabanggit na natin. You are not meant to be friends with your students, okay? That's one of the things we mentioned last time. We're meant to be role models. Students should look up to us and say, paglaki ko gusto kong maging katulad ni ma'am. Gusto kong maging katulad ni sir. And that's why it's very important and very good for teachers to ask ourselves often, am I being a role model to my students? Am I showing them by my example what it means to be a man or woman of integrity, to be a man or woman of character. Because values are caught, not taught. We've heard that cliche too many times. And besides, we are not just here to cover the curriculum, we are here to raise young people to become good men and women. So, here are some questions we should ask ourselves to find out if am I being a good role model for my students? Am I a good example? There is no other better way to teach character than through the powerful example of our life. That's how it is. You cannot teach character, values, virtues by lecturing on them. The only way we can teach character is through our example. Do I warmly greet each student? Do I seek other opportunities to connect with each student? Am I well prepared for class on time? Do I model patience and courtesy even under stress? Do I treat all my students impartially? And do I challenge all of them to do their best work? In the same way that when I come inside the classroom, I am well prepared. Um, I remember a principal we had in Southridge who one day told us, teachers, we cannot afford to have a bad hair day. Alam mo yung minsan pasok ka ng classroom, tapos parang you're in a bad mood, tapos hindi ka well prepared in the class, tapos sabi ng principal sa amin, hindi pwede. For a teacher, hindi pwede. Ang taas ng standards for a teacher. Why? Because if we fail in this aspect of being role models, the consequences are grave. The students tend to imitate the teachers, including their defects. I mean, um, especially, in fact, their defects. That's why it's very good to ask this question every day. If my student had only my behavior to watch, what example would he catch? If my student had only my behavior to watch, what example would he catch? That's why, I mentioned to you, I've given seminars to more than 100,000 teachers all over the Philippines. I've traveled from Tuguegarao, Batanes even, all the way down to Zamboanga, Cagayan de Oro, Cotabato. I've given seminars in the past, since 2011. I've been going around the country giving seminars to teachers. Minsan, I come across participants in seminars who don't show interest, for example, or show a certain arrogance. Alam mo yung attitude na pinilit lang kasi, required lang kasi kami mag-attend dito ng principal namin, kaya ako nandito eh. And then at the back of my mind, iniisip mo, ito ang magbibigay ng character formation. Ito ang role model na ipipresenta natin sa mga estudyante. I wonder what kind of example this teacher gives inside the classroom. Meron pa nga minsan, dalawang teacher, halos buong lecture nag-uusapan. Pero pagka sila nasa loob ng classroom, when two students start talking to each other, they get angry, they get upset, they get mad, they shout, they scream. Pero tingnan mo, sila parang hindi nakikinig. Yan ang ibibigay mo as example and role model to the students. Parang such a poor role model. Mataas ang standards natin for us teachers. Iba ang batayan. We are not merely employees. Okay, that's a very important point to drive home. The reason why we have high standards for teachers is because they are not just employees, they are agents of formation. They are, whether they like it or not, they are being presented as role models for the students, as examples. And students will catch the examples they give, whether good or bad. That's why it's very important for teachers to be very conscious of this. Am I being a role model to my students? Okay, I've been talking for almost an hour. Here is a video to give us a bit of rest as well as to change. Let me see. I'll just turn off first the recording. Resume recording. Okay, here's another strategy, a welcome letter. I would have a strategy as a class advisor, and I was class advisor for many years. I insisted on being class advisor, especially of grade 5 students. Even when I was vice principal of high school in Southridge, or principal of intermediate school, or the religion department chair, I insisted on being class advisor because I saw that it was one of the most crucial works jobs in the school, the class advisor, a key to creating a class culture. So one of the things I would do is 1 week bago magbukas ang school year, I would go to the registrar's office. And then I would ask for the email addresses of the parents of the students in my advisory class. And then I would send them a welcome letter 1 week before the opening of the school year because it's available. I mean, normally when they register, when they enroll, they fill up a form, and we have those in records, their email addresses. The This is a sample welcome letter on my last year in Southridge, 2008-2009 school year. And then 2009, I moved to the University of Asia in the Pacific. 1 week before the opening of the school year, I would send this letter. Paragraph number 1, I will let my parents, the parents of my students in the advisory class, know who I am. I will introduce myself. I will tell them I have a PhD in literature, an MA in creative writing. I have a degree in journalism and literature. I've been teaching for this many years. I'm a founder of a school in Iloilo City. I want to assure the parents that I know what I'm doing. I'm an expert. Let's work together. That's very important, by the way, because when you go to when you go to a doctor's office, doctor's clinic, and then nandun ka sa waiting area, what do you see? Aba, nakapaskil yung diplomas ng doktor, yung certificates. Minsan nga, nakadecorate pa yung trophies and the plaques of appreciation that they received for having been a speaker like that. Because the doctors want to assure you, I know what I'm doing. I'm an expert. When you go to a lawyer's office and then waiting for the lawyer to be available, what do you see in the waiting room? Ay, naka-display yung diploma niya. Nandun yung kanyang trophies. Nandun yung kanyang recognitions and certificates and diplomate whatever degrees they, because the lawyers want to assure you that they know what they're doing, they're experts. When you go to the classroom, you don't see the diploma of the teacher. I mean, I've not heard of teachers displaying for everyone to know their awards, their certificates, that they attended so many seminars. Why not? Why shouldn't we? Well, I don't have to display them because I sent a letter to my parents 1 week before the opening of the school year to assure them I know what I'm doing. I'm an expert. Let's work together for the sake of your sons, for the sake of your daughters. Paragraph number 2, I tell them how they can contact me, the phone number of the school, the local number, and better yet, the best time to call if they want to get in touch with us. I don't even hesitate to give them my cell phone. Now, this is debatable. Some teachers don't like this. I'm not telling you to do this. I'm telling you, I did it and it helped me greatly. The parents had a very easy time contacting me if they need to bring up a concern or a complaint. If they have a complaint, they're not going to talk to their neighbors, to their relatives and friends. They will talk to me because they know how to get in touch with me. Now, you don't have to do this if you don't want your privacy to be invaded by teachers, by parents. You don't have to. But based on my 33 years inside the classroom experience, it has helped me a great deal of good. And they are so thrilled. Hindi pa nagbubukas yung school year, they receive a letter like this, an email like this, and they say, wow, ang galing nitong teacher na to. Our son is in good hands. Hindi pa nga nagbubukas ng school year, he's already reaching out to us. And we already know how to get in touch with him. And then the third paragraph, I just tell them about our class website. If your son will be absent on a certain day, don't worry. Go to the class website and you're going to see there our announcements, reminders, or sometimes even what your son missed because the classmates will update the website. So it greatly helped me so that I am in direct contact with the parents and they can easily contact me. And then here's something I do on day one. This was the information sheet that my students will fill up on day one. Hindi pa nagbebel ang hindi pa nagre-ring ang bell to start the class. When students enter my classroom on day one, they're going to see this paper on top of their table and they will have to fill it up because I want to know as many things about them even before the school day starts, the first day of school starts. I want to know the awards that they received in the past, their hobbies and interests. I even want to know the wedding anniversary of the parents. Because as a class, we're going to have one of those cartolinas made into a greeting card, and everybody will sign greeting the parents on their wedding anniversary. Because we are not just a class, we're going to be a team, a family. We're going to work together, support each other. And the parents, we have to get them to help us, support us, so that we will succeed in what we want to achieve. And then I want to know the work of their parents, the work of their mother, the how to get in touch with them. And I want to know who are your brothers and sisters? And are you the youngest? Are you the eldest? Are you the middle child? The parents, I get to know so many things about my students even before the bell rings, even before I start getting to talk with each one of them. For education to be effective, it must be personal. That is a principle of experts in education. For education to be effective, it must be personal. The students are not merely class numbers. Every single one of them is a feeling, thinking human being. For education to be effective, it must be personal. George Isaac Brown. Okay? That is the purpose of having the welcome letter, That is the purpose of having this information sheet so that I will get to know a lot of things about the students, every single one of them, even before the bell rings on day one. And then Hal Urban talks about welcoming the students with a handshake, every single one of them. That's another strategy that he gives us in 20 Things Good Teachers Do. Now, some of you might be thinking, "Ay, welcoming students to my classroom, every single one of them with a handshake. Mr. Rentoy, I have 50 students. That's a lot of time wasted." Okay, well, maybe for some, it may be a waste of time. But Hal Urban said he was doing that for the 20 years he was inside the classroom. And that may be the only thing that the students will remember of you. The teacher who welcomed us to the classroom every single day like human beings. Because the deepest urge in human nature is the desire to be important. Here's a teacher who really treated us as important people. That's why he welcomed us with a handshake. Eventually, some of them did not just want to give a handshake, they want to give a fist bump. They want to give a hug because they never get a hug anywhere at any time in their life. Does it work? Hal Urban says it works because 20 years later, 25 years later, when I meet these students again, already as professionals, already as successful mothers, fathers, that's what they will remember. That's what they will say usually. "Sir, remember how you greeted us inside the classroom every day with a handshake?" That made a big difference in their life. Now, some of you might be thinking, hindi applicable yan, Mr. Rentoy, sa Pilipinas, handshake. Okay, then what do you want? High five? Okay. What do you want? Mano po? Okay. Or if some of us will think that's a lot of time that I need for to cover the curriculum, to finish the chapter. Okay, then maybe the least you can do is in the 45-minute, 50-minute period that you have to make sure you will make an eye contact with every single one of your students. To make sure that you will have an interaction, even if it is just an interaction of eye contact with every single one of them. But never forget that every single human being there, every single student inside your classroom is a thinking, feeling human being. Okay, more strategies. Let me show you my classroom in grade 5 for many years. And here's a strategy I would have. There is hanging by the ceiling at the front of the classroom name tags of the students. Every student would have a name card. On one side, their name written, and then at the back is just plain white. Okay, and every student would have the name card hanging there. And on day one, I will tell my class, okay, class, every time you contribute to class prestige, class honor, or class unity, I'm going to put a tag, which is just a small colored sticker. Every time you contribute to class unity, class prestige, class honor, you get a tag at the back of your name. For example, if you participate in the class outing, that means you contributed to class unity. The participants in the class outing will get one tag each. Students who made it to the varsity team, contributing therefore to class prestige. I, for example, would then, okay, class, the following students qualified for the basketball varsity team. As I announce the name, I put the tag at the back of the name cards of these students. Because at the end of the quarter, students, the top 5 students with the biggest number of tags, meaning to say they were the top 5 who contributed the most to class unity, class prestige, class honor, they are given recognition of class students of the quarter. And at the end of the school year, the students with the biggest number of tags will get a certificate or even a trophy, if I can afford it, if we have the budget for it, or a medal, because they become the students of the year. Now, the biggest number of tags are set aside for what they are expected to do. If you're third honor, I'm going to put 5 tags. Second honor, 7 tags. First honor, 10 tags or 10 stickers. And so at the end of every quarter, as I announce, okay, class, the following are third honor students. In Southridge, we call them the principal's listers. The following are third honor students. As I announce the names, I put 5 tags, 5 stickers at the back of the name tags of these students. It takes time. And so the clapping turns into cheering, and the cheering turns into a whole class celebrating the third honor, the second honor, and the first honor students. I love a class where students celebrate successes of the classmates. It works. It creates create it created a kind of culture where here inside our classroom we are happy for the achievements of our classmates. We celebrate each other. It works because many times in my class, grade 5, and in my last year, grade 7, usually 85% of my students would end up in the honors list, whether third honor, second honor, or first honor. And it's not because we lowered the standards, it's because the students will work hard to be successful, to make it to the honors list, because they want the tags, because they want to achieve. Students who in the previous years in Southridge were even almost failures or kick out, but in my class, they would be motivated to succeed, and not just to succeed, to even become honor students. It works. It works when you are able to create that kind of atmosphere, culture, environment, healthy kind of environment. So that is the name tags strategy. On my last year in Southridge, this is okay. We're beginning to wrap it up. Just a few more strategies. In my last year in Southridge, nobody wanted to take 7D. So I said, it's okay, I'll take that. Many of them, anyway, were already in my grade 5. I know many of them. So here are last 3 strategies I'd like to share with you. And this is based on research. Sabi ng research, on day 1, on the first day of the school year, 3 things are on top of the mind of every student. This is science. 3 things, according to research, are on top of the mind of every student on day 1. Number 1, am I in the right classroom? Number 2, can I sit anywhere? And number 3, who are you as a teacher? What kind of teacher are you? Those are the 3 things on top of the mind of every student on day 1. Hindi pa sila nakakapasok ng classroom, I already answered the question. Am I in the right classroom? You should know, I wrote an email to your parents. You remember the welcome letter that I sent a week before? So your parents should know that you belong to this classroom, my classroom. Now, some of them might not have put their might not have been able to put their email addresses in the registration form. No problem. On the board or on the door is posted here, the class list. Your name is here. Congratulations. You belong to this class. Come in, come in. Question number 2. Can I sit anywhere? Ah, no. Look, I have a seat plan here. And not only that, not only do I have a reserved seat for you, you have a task, an assignment. You have a job to fulfill in our classroom. You see, you're in charge of litters, garbage. But don't worry, next month we're going to have shuffling of assignments. Your other classmate is in charge of the lights and fans. The other one is in charge of workload for the students who are absent. If you're absent, no problem. Contact this classmate of yours because he is in charge of making sure that you are given the support you need, the workload that you missed. Somebody else is in charge of line marshal. Somebody else is in charge of closing the doors, the windows, and the aircon. Somebody else is, you see, hindi pa sila nakakapasok ng classroom. The message is already very clear. Here, everyone has a role to play. Here, we will work as a team. Everyone is a piece of a puzzle that put together creates a masterpiece, creates a beautiful canvas. Question number 3. Who are you as a teacher? I answered that question even before they enter the classroom because I follow the Harry Wong advice that on day 1, I stand by the door way before the bell would ring, 1 hour before the time, 1 hour before the bells would ring. And as students arrive, I would welcome them with my biggest smile. Some I would recognize. I would shake their hand and tell them, congratulations, you're in the best class. Come in, come in. Some of them, I tell them, I've been waiting for you. You are very lucky to be in this class. Some of them, I say, this is going to be your best year. I tell them all those lies. I mean, they're not lies. They're going to believe the lie because that afternoon they're going to go home to tell their parents, Mom, I belong to the best class. Well, not that they will believe the lie, they are going to make it happen. They're going to make it a reality and they're going to make the school year a very successful one. Okay, so there are many more strategies to share. Here's another one. We would have a class motto. On my last year, our class was 7D, Daring Darters. We gave our class a name. 5B, grade 5, section B, we called ourselves the 5B Best Bets. That's why you saw 5B Best Bets. But here on the last year, we became the 7D Daring Darters. When we were 5B Best Bets, the motto became be the best. Pero hindi mo na pwedeng gamitin yun for grade 7D. So, ginawa namin 7D, we're driven to excel. We're 7D, daring darters, and we're driven to excel. Have a class motto, have a class name. Even better yet, for the lower grades, have a class cheer that students will do to start the day. I love a class that has an identity, that has core values, that is able to say, this is what we stand for, this is what we are. Here in this classroom, we celebrate success. Here in our classroom, we celebrate values, virtues. Okay, it's time. Here now you have the link. I'm going to also type it in the chat box now. Let me see. Okay. Today is January 10, no? And I'm going to type, sorry, this is 8. This is January 10. Here is the link. I typed in the chat box for the certificate for today's session. Please scan the QR code and fill up the Google form, or click on the link and fill up the Google form. And when you're able to receive in your email the certificate, kindly please type in the chat box, done or received. Okay? And if there are any problems, difficulties with certificates, just send an email to catalystpds@gmail.com. Okay, Ma'am Divinia, I suppose you received already your certificate. Yeah. Anyone else has received a certificate? Please type in the chat box, done or received. Thank you, Ma'am Magdael. Good afternoon po, sir. May I ask kung mabibigyan po kami ng recording? Please send a message to catalystpds@gmail.com. Okay. Ma'am Ali, thank you. Dan, Clau, Diana, Dan, thank you. Dan, received. Thank you, Dan Cruz. Okay, Sir Jaime also finished, received already. Okay, thank you. Good. That means the link is working. Certificate generation is working. Fantastic. Okay. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. And for the last time, just to make sure you're able to access the link to the certificate. There you go. I typed it again. Okay, so I'll hope to see you in the last of the 5 seminars on Friday. I'm going to stop recording now.